Hi and welcome to this new video on Semantic Kernel, where I am going to teach you something that I already covered in previous specialized video, and it's how you can intercept each call to the large language model thanks to the ASP.NET module that allows for interception. So you can dump every information you are sending and you are receiving. This kind of interaction, it's not only useful to dump everything in production, but it's very special useful during development, and it's important for you to understand what is going on when you are using semantic kernel. And yes, it's true, you can enable logging as you see in the previous video, but having logging, it's a way to have a raw log, and you are depending on how much information semantic kernel is logging. With this technique, you can intercept each call, so you can do whatever you want. You can examine all the request to response from your API call, and so it allows you to really understand what is going on behind the hood. First of all, you see that you have the standard importing Nugget library, and now you have this line that I'm highlighting, that it's where you do the interceptor. You can use configure HTTP client default. And this is an extension that Semantic Kernel, Kernel Builder allows you to just allow configuring how the semantic kernel is using the HTTP client used to perform call to the API. So you can now add the logger, and I am using a create HTTP request body logger from the logging provider that is my class called dump logging provider. And let's see how this class is structured. The class is implementing the iLogger provider. And it's a simple class contained in the common full file that is shared between all the notebook. And it's simply creating a custom logger. And the only particular aspect of this logger, you can look at the code, and I'm not going into full detail, but it knows how it structured the call to an OpenAI API. So it is capable of taking the JSON in and JSON out, the JSON of the request and the JSON of the response, and it can parse and giving you some already parsed and readable information about your call. And let's see how we can use this object to simplify diagnosing problem or simplify understanding what's going on under the hood. And this is how you use it, and it's much important how you use it than how it is built. The code is there, you can always look by yourself. So I'm simply invoking a prompt with the standard syntax, but after I invoking the prompt, I use the login provider get LLM calls. And this is an helper function that helps me to have an array of all the calls that were made by the large language model. And in the simple example, I'm going to dump some of the information. As an example, the URL that is used and the full request in this situation and the response function call. So if the response is a function call, you remember the previous video where I taught you how you can use the OpenAI API to do a function call, and function call tooling is necessary to really force the large language model to answer you a JSON, or in this the basic block for building plugin. And so with this simple extension, you can understand what's going on. Now, let's see in action. I'm restarting the kernel and I'm running all to see what's happening. So the code is running, and as you can see, I have a pretty much higher trace, because I'm not only having the trace by the semantic kernel based library, I also have the trace for my interceptor. So you can have some sort of really a lot of information, but I'm interested in this. And this gives you an important number. The number of calls the semantic kernel does to the large language model is 1. And I know that it's easy to understand that we have only one call. After all, we invoke the large language model with a string, but it will be different in the subsequent examples where we are starting using plugin. So I have the full prompt, and so I can understand which is the prompt that is passed to the large language model, and I have a complete response, easy to parse, and so you can see this is a standard response by an OpenAI, an Azure OpenAI call where you have all the content filtering, so you can know if for some reason your content is filtered, why it is filtered. And as you can see, this is really important to diagnose problem. And this concludes the video. So semantic kernel allows you in a very simple way to intercept everything that passed through the HTTP call from your code to the API. And this is important because it allows you to parse request and response, extract everything you need, and it's very, very useful to diagnose problem. You can dump some special information, or as an example, you can extract the content filtering response part to understand if for some reason the prompt was flagged by the API and so the answer is not present. And the limit is your imagination, because you can do whatever you want. You can even parse the part where you are, where the large language, the API tells you how many tokens you used, so you can accumulate and you can give, hey, this user or this specific call cost you this number of token, and you can translate number of token directly to dollar to your bills. So it is important, and I strongly suggest you explore this possibility and try to understand what you can do with it. Bye-bye, and I'm waiting you for the next video. And as usual, if you like the content, please subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.